Hey, good people. Hey, good people. This is Rocki with Rocki's Reality, the #1 podcast for unfiltered and unapologetic culture, entertainment, and relationships. Tap in live Thursdays, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as I chat with some of the dopest artists, celebrities, influencers, entrepreneurs, and more. Make sure to catch us live Thursdays, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Roku. See you soon. Welcome to Rocki's Reality, everyone, and welcome to Women's History Month. March is Women's History Month, and as you all know, I love being a woman, so of course I have to celebrate Women's History Month, and we also have International Women's Day coming up. So in honor of that, we have a great duo here who are doing innovative things in their industry. I don't know about you all, but it is time for us to start getting those cars washed again. Springtime is here, especially for those of us with the cold weather. I know there are some people who are like have memberships and they get their car washed like every week, but I'm going to be honest. I'm one of those people who, when it gets springtime, that's when I'm starting to get my car washed more. But either way, however often you get your car washed, it's important to always have representation. And tonight we have two people who are, again, making strides in the car wash industry by introducing a program called ElevateHER. And that's elevate and the word her as in woman. So Stephanie and Jay, I'm going to have Jay pronounce his last name because I don't want to butcher it, but Stephanie Mack and Jay, I'll just say I for now, have come together and they co-founded ElevateHER. And this is a program that fosters a more inclusive and supportive environment for women in the car wash industry. And as you all would guess, that there's not a lot of representation of women in the industry. And so they are looking to change that as we need to. And I'm grateful to someone like Jay, who, even though he's not a woman, he is a man who's an ally. And we all know that we need allies in any industry that we're in. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome to the show, Jay. Please pronounce your last name for me.
It's Iraeta.
Okay. And Jay is from Peru. So he had to give me a little history lesson. I said, I'm not going to butcher your last name, Jay. I'm going to leave that on you. So pronounce it again for our viewers, Jay, slowly.
Iraeta.
I love it. I love the way your accent. I love the accent on there. So welcome to the show, Jay. And then I'm also going to welcome his partner, Stephanie Mack, of co-founder of ElevateHER. So welcome you all to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so I won't get all into all the technical stuff of your bios. I'll let you do it yourselves. I feel like when I read bios, it's just like so monotone. So I'm going to have you all just give us a little snapshot of who you are and how you came together. And we'll start with Stephanie first.
Yes. So the way we came together was I had joined Summit Wash Holdings, which is in the car wash industry. My department is the talent acquisition department. So we do the recruiting, the emerging of roles, things of that nature. And when I joined the company, I originally joined as the main recruiter for the Southeast region. We have 3 different regions and corporate. And at the time, when I first joined the company, I had an interview with Jay, who was the Southeast regional leader of the company. And, through conversation, working together, a little bit about me on the side is that while working for Summit Wash Holdings, I also worked for, as a business manager for a company called Hivestrong, which helped women in domestic violence, sexual assault type of situations. And it created a hive, what we call, which is a safe space. And these were conversations that I had with Jay. And through those conversations, Jay, shared his passion and his side of, being raised under a single mom and his story of that, which helped us form Elevate Her. So we came together with the idea of creating the same type of hive, this employee resource group for women. And I'll let Jay go ahead and tell his story of how he joined.
Thank you, Stephanie. I before coming to this Summit Wash Holdings, the company, I was doing law enforcement in the state of Iowa. And then I got introduced to a men's group that I was attending, an opportunity that I can have to work for the car wash. Totally different careers. It was very scary, but at least I would be home enough to have dinner with my girls. I have 3 daughters. So that's something that weighed out the career of being in law enforcement. So that's when I decided to join, started off as a sales representative. And then from there, I started climbing up the ladder. When I met Stephanie out here in Florida, it's when I got moved from the Midwest, Nebraska, down to Florida to be the regional leader, which now I'm the regional president. And a title is just a title, but what the title was able to help me do is it helped my voice get louder and be able to be heard at a whole nother level. And being a father of girls and being raised with nothing but women, strong women that own their own businesses, own their own homes, never needed a man. And it's not about not needing a man, but they know how to survive. They know how to make it happen. But seeing the struggle that the women in my family went through, I wanted to make a difference. And how do I do that? This is a man's world when it comes to the car wash industry, which we thought until Stephanie and I were able to make a difference with the support of our C-suite. So when we started visiting a lot of these sites, we started seeing that a lot of the women that work in these sites at different car washes, that energy just wasn't really there, or because they couldn't open their mindset to see okay, one day I can be a regional, one day I can be the president, or one day I can just be in a higher role and have opportunity for my family. So once I started seeing that, I got with Stephanie, and I was like, we got to do something. We got to make a difference. We got to be the first region that has the first female GM. And not only did we accomplish that, we also accomplished having the first female regional. That is one of our 3 ladies that we started this group with. So that's kind of how we started it, was putting 2 brains together and saying, Stephanie knows how to get loud. She knows how to get her voice out there. And I know how to sit there and break some walls down. So we were able to come together, bring up a plan, present it. And since then, we've had the support, and it's gotten huge. We have a lot of support from male and female, and we have a lot of followers that we've been trying to make a difference with, letting them know hey, we're here to help you get your voice louder. We're here to help you, mentor you, and get you where you want to be.
I love it. And so you all are based in Florida, but you have your brands are represented across Connecticut, New York, Missouri, Nebraska.
Yes, ma'am.
So nationwide.
Yeah. Well,
nationwide.
We have Northeast, Midwest, and Southeast. So all along those ways, but we're expanding as well. So
I was about to say, come here to Michigan. Come here to Michigan. So although you all are already breaking barriers, because there's on average, the leadership roles of women are only about 16% in the car wash industry, but you all have already broken that by having 25% of women in leadership. And you're committed to making sure this is a big one, committed to equal pay, making sure that the women are getting paid just as much as the men. So, and kudos to you, Jay. I mean, we're really growing up with women and having 3 daughters, you kind of have no choice. But I salute you for being an ally. And as we come to know, we can't do anything alone. With any movement, it has to be some type of ally. And it's not always the group that is pushing it forward. It has to be someone else helping us as well.
Yeah.
So that's really key and important. And I appreciate you saying, Jay, that it's a man's world, because you recognize that a lot of things are still male dominated, and women, we are still having a lot of firsts. I say that often, it's kind of sad that women are still having firsts in this world when men have been running stuff for so long. So, what are some things that you recognize that, and salute to your mom for raising you? She obviously did well with that. But what are some things that you recognize that complement that gap that women feel in the industry?
It's just like I said, every regional or any corporate person that would show up to these site visits was always a male, and I could feel, and that's where I wanted to make the change. I wanted to sit there and be able to open the door and say, when I did approach certain young ladies before I was in the role that I'm in, and I was just a regional in the Midwest, I tried to challenge them a little bit as far as like, hey, how would you feel on taking a little bit more responsibilities? I'm a girl. They're not gonna listen to me. They're not gonna pay attention. I'm like, oh no. That's not how it works. With that mindset, you're never gonna get across that mountain unless you sit there and you start believing. You gotta have faith and you gotta believe. So the more I would sit there and I would poke and push, and it's like just test them one step at a time. It's where I started seeing that it can be something huge to bloom. So that's what we were able to accomplish out here in Florida, where it's like, let's start off with 3 ladies. And it was pretty much our only 3 ladies at the time where we're like, we want to help them. When we first got them all 3 together, they were like, it was silent. They didn't know what to say. They were either shy or, they didn't know how to be approachable. These ladies have rocked it now. Like Stephanie and I are just the cheerleaders in the back. We really don't have to, get involved too much because they took it, they roll with it. We were able to take a GM. She was assistant manager, went to a GM, and now works partnered up with Stephanie in the talent acquisition department. And then we have one of our other ladies that was a salesperson, supervisor, assistant, GM, and now the first regional in the whole company, female regional. And now we have one of our other ladies that we moved her from a smaller location to a more high volume location, which she's striving as well. And she's got goals that we're going to help her reach. But I just feel like that it's all about here. It's the mindset. It's where, like I said, yeah, it may seem like it's a man's world, but if we wouldn't have the support and the buy-in that we have right now, we wouldn't have grown as fast as we have, because we're not chained up. There's no walls in front of us. They believed in what Stephanie and I put together and said, we can make this happen. And this isn't just for the ladies that are going to stick around with us and make a career with us. It's what can we give them? How can we get their voice loud enough that they can take it on to whatever career they want, so they don't have the struggles that my mother or my aunt or my grandmother had, that I don't ever want my daughters to have. And just to throw it out there, all 3 girls got a loud voice, my daughters, because they see what we're doing here and they're like, we want to make that
teaching the younger generation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. And, you wanted to add to it, Stephanie? I was going to bring up a picture here. Are these some of the young ladies you all are referring to?
Let me see. If it's on the main page, it should be 3 young ladies we have. Those were our trailblazing leaders that helped form the group.
Yeah. Let me add the picture here. Oops.
Now we see you.
Yes. If I would show you the picture so you could know, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. These girls helped us, with the first couple of months. We wanted to make them, feel just as valuable, as seen, heard, feel in a safe space. And over the past year, the growth in all of them has been tremendous. Like Jay said, the one over all the way to the right, that is Nikki. That's the one that, one of our youngest GMs, I think she was 22 when she started. And, I think she's no older than 24. And, she's right now a regional manager overseeing multiple general managers, and inspiring the girls, letting them know, that anything is possible. We created this group that we want to be a safe space. So, at the beginning, it was just developing these women, and them figuring out, who they were, what passions they have, and kind of allowing them to see the spark that they already had in them. Aside from Nikki in this photo is Jenny to the right. And Jenny came from the car wash industry from a legacy. So she has about 5 years in the car wash industry in operations. And through conversation with her, I saw the passion she had for people, for talent. And we evolved her, and then she became a talent acquisition specialist, now working in a corporate side with me, and still gets to go out there. One thing that I love about it is that now that they saw that it was possible for them, when they're out there in the car wash, they're trying to inspire. And, when we're having conversations with these women at the car wash, when we're doing visits and stuff, it's not only about, how are we developing you as a person, but it's, how can we make change in the community? One thing that we brought this year as a new thing, as we expanded to all 3 regions and corporate, was we wanted to be involved in the American Cancer Society. So we're involved in pink walks, and pink walks are located throughout the entire year. Our car wash company has committed to attending all of them, raising funds for them, participating with booths in them. Yeah, exactly. So we started the first one in West Palm Beach near 3 of our car wash locations. And this Saturday, we're going to be having a booth. Definitely check us out. We're going to be giving free wash cards. We're also going to be talking about our program, and of course, we have all men and people from corporate, all positions, coming over and helping in support of, elevating women. Like Jay said, it doesn't matter what department they're in. It doesn't matter, what position they're in. We want to speak to them on a one-on-one basis and find out, like, what are you passionate about? What are you good at? What are you gifted at? Especially coming from the talent department, I always want to discover new talent. And, when I found out that 16% was out there, I told Jay, we need to get it by next year to like 50%, because why not? Why can't women, be as, high in positions as men in the car wash industry?
I love that. I love that. That is so admirable. So admirable. So, okay, there we go. There we go. Want to get us back on there. So for you all, I want to make sure we're back on here. Do you guys see me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know why we were looking kind of strange, but we're back on there. So what are some specific programs? Do they go to classes? Are there workshops? Like when we say Elevate Her, what does that specifically entail? What is the level of commitment? Is there a fee for it? Is it just sponsorship?
No.
Like how does it work logistically?
Well, no, there's definitely no fee for it. It's open to any women in our company. It's internal always, of course, at this moment, because we're trying to focus on our people, developing our people, and then we can hit the community even more in that level. But we have what we call our creating workshops. So that's coming up soon, where we're going to have an Elevate Her workshop. We're going to have different subjects where, women are going to be teaching either hard skills or soft skills when it comes to, boundaries, things like that, and versus, hard training skills, like how to go work through a tunnel and, how to have the proper PEP. So there's several things.
PEP?
What we do have
I'm sorry, the proper PEP?
Jay, could you explain? For protective, like, safety.
Yeah. That's like gear for when they're working.
Gear, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So,
okay, all right.
Yeah, so we have that, as well as we have a group chat which is called Blink. It's kind of like a social media for us. It's like our own version of Facebook, but just for employees. And then it has a private group chat where we have all the women there that have, enrolled in our program. And the way we enrolled them was simply sending out a survey that had a list of questions like, what is it that you want for your personal and professional life? What is it that you need change in? What can we advocate for you? So it has a list of questions as well as, details for us to be the direct contact with them. One thing we're always encouraging is that once we have that information, we add them to a group chat where the women are constantly, talking to each other, having conversations, just general conversations about the car wash, aspirations, prayer quotes, videos. So it's a live kind of group chat of just the women in the car wash. And then on a monthly basis, we do one thing is we'll have a newsletter focused on what we did for that month. So sometimes we do tours where we are asking certain questions to get feedback so we can apply change. And especially like for the Southeast, that's when, the Southeast last year, we did a tour where that was huge impact because we brought Jay along, and Jay was the president of the Southeast. So the president hearing his feedback from his main women, and they're saying, okay, this and this, and there was change that was made, but there was also awareness of, various topics that affected, then the women in our company, and as well as, perception. So those type of things are ways that we funnel it all the way to the top, so that when I'm having my monthly conversation with the CEO and updating him, I'm bringing to him, situations or scenarios and saying, okay, this is what we're seeing, and this is what needs to, like, what can we do about these things? And not everything gets solved, but this allows our women to have a higher voice. This allows us to scope out new talent, and also match up people, because we're a small group of 5, so right now we're at 72. We can't mentor and mentee every single person. So we're teaching these women, mentor each other. We're having side conversations. We're huge on visiting the sites. I work from home, remote, but it is so vital for me to visit the car wash sites, to travel to Connecticut. That's one factor that I require in my job. That's one thing that Jay, he just did a tour. Go ahead, Jay, share with your recent tour.
I took 2 of the ladies to the Midwest in Nebraska because, well, the goal for us is when we started with these 3 ladies, we wanted to sit there and pretty much try to figure out what specific strengths they have and what opportunities they had. While their voice was too low, or they were too shy, or they didn't know how to approach. So our first tour in Florida was a little rocky, even though we were able to receive a lot of great information where we were able to make some changes. But the more we went to a women's conference, an all women's conference, which was amazing in Utah, and just having these speakers in different classes that we've been going to with the help of obviously our C-suite, we were able to mentor them, where it's like, for example, Nikki, the regional, I was able to take her to sites, and the way her approach was, I was able to take notes, pull her back a little bit and say, approach it this way. But I always had to explain the whys. So the more I would put her out there, the more she started to adapt. And now every GM, even sites that are locations that are not hers, we have GMs that are like requesting, like, oh, can she be our regional, or can she come and pay attention to us, visit us? Why? Because of the fact that they're seeing how powerful Jenny, Lisa, and Nikki are, where it's like they made it. Like, these girls have power when they speak. Yeah. So when we went to Stephanie and Jenny, they went to Connecticut, we went to Nebraska, and it's because we're trying to have like ambassadors at each region that can do what we did. So then Stephanie and I will go to those 2 individuals or 4 individuals and mentor them the way we did our ladies. So then they can do the same thing, because we can't be in the same place at all time, everywhere at the same time. But the picture here is how can we get it to grow and to get the same attention that our three ladies received, because that's what made it more impactful.
I love that. You are kudos to you all for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I was going to say one more thing that we just started is, we started having every other month, we have monthly calls where we speak about certain subjects and all the women join. And in 2025, we started to have calls where we're inviting women from other industries, other fields, other diversities, and we're bringing these women and listening to their stories. The month of January, we had Rachel Kelly, who is my mentor and the owner of Hive Strong. And Hive Strong is, for domestic violence. She announced the book, the launch of her book, which was From Trauma to Triumph, which was a book that actually we went ahead and all the women that jumped on that call and heard about her book and heard about, the trials and tribulations that she went through and how it's possible to go from, a frontline position all the way to the top, showing the women that resilience. She also had the book, and Jay went ahead and purchased the book for all the women that were on that call. And that's something that we're giving out to the women that join our call. Every other month we have a different topic or a new invite, just to inspire these women and to show them, anything's possible.
I love that. So simply to be eligible, they just have to be an employee of one of your car washes.
Yes, for now, because the goal is to get even more broader than that. But for now, yes.
Okay. I love it. And I appreciate you all sharing this. And where can people find you? We've got to wrap it up, unfortunately. But where can people find you? And how can they become involved and support ElevateHER? Because you're only right now in Florida and...
We're Florida, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Nebraska, Kansas City. We're moving around. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how can people keep in contact with you? How can they follow? How can they inquire about possibly bringing it to their car wash? Maybe you all can pilot the program somewhere else. Right. Absolutely.
Definitely they can reach us on our professional LinkedIn page. That is our company page where we usually release the most up-to-date information. That's Summit Wash Holdings, LinkedIn. And then of course if they visit
SUMMIT Summit. Okay.
Summit Wash Holdings. And then all our car wash brands, they do have a little bit of information on every site of ours as well.
Okay. And that would be, but also your, that's waterscarwash.com. Is that the parent company, waterscarwash.com?
Yes, ma'am. We also have an Instagram, right, Stephanie?
Yes, we have swh.elevateher.
Awesome. And ElevateHER is spelled ElevateHER.
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie and Jay. And just in closing, what are some tips if someone wants to start a program like this, if they want to get into the car wash industry? What are 2 tips? Each of you could give 2 tips that you would give for someone wanting to get into the industry or create this type of program.
To create this type of program, I would say, and actually we were asked this before at a different podcast, is start off small. Have an agenda. Get a small group that you feel that they can see the same vision that you have, because it's better to perfect that small group than to try to get big too fast. Because there's been opportunities that have came in front of us where we, they want us to go faster, and we're like, no. We got to perfect this to make sure we get it done right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be one of my advice, Stephanie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I definitely think one of the other things is discovering if there's a need, if there's a true need for the group, if there's a gap or an absence, and then present that as your business case. Organization strategy planning is big for me. So always planning ahead and, seeing where the gaps and where you could bridge that gap.
Absolutely. I love it. Okay, well, you all heard it here. Well, probably not first, but you all heard it here. So make sure that you support Summit Car Wash, and make sure you support Elevate Her. Make sure you all follow them. It's been a pleasure speaking with you too, Stephanie and Jay, and I wish you all luck. And I'm hoping that'll come here to Michigan, but if not, if I make it to one of those other states anytime soon, I'll make sure to check out one of your car washes, and would love to see a lady there
Our
in
home is
charge.
your home. So thank you very much.
All right, you're
Thank you.
welcome. And best of luck to you. The program's only been open a year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Big things
Only a
coming, and
year.
it's already expanding. I love how what the strides you've made already. So I love to see how it's looking in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
We're excited
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
the big one.
Thank you. And a huge shout out to our ladies, Nikki, Lisa, Jenny. Couldn't do it without you.
All right.
Thank you.
Love
Thank you
it.
so
Love it.
much.
And maybe Jay, one of your daughters will take it over at some point.
I'm pretty sure.
Right. Legacy building. We're training them to take it over.
100%. Thank you so much.
All right. You all have a great day. Well, great evening, I should
Thank
say.
you.
Take care. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, everybody.
All right. So that was definitely a unique story, right? Because like, who would think about making a diversity of women more prominent in the car wash industry? But I'm glad they're doing it. And you all, as you all know, on Rocki's Reality, I always love to discuss and highlight stories that no one else is highlighting. So who else can say that they're highlighting a program such as Elevate Her? So looking forward to how that develops. So next up, we've got a two-parter tonight as we continue with Women's History Month. This is a phenomenal woman, and we've got International Women's Day coming up on the 8th. So just in line with that, I want to welcome to the show someone. She is definitely making waves in her industry as a woman who is with her story, her own story of how she is impacting the industry. She was voted one of top accountants in her industry. She has serviced over 3,500 clients, and she is a tax strategist and fractional CFO. We'll have to get into what a fractional CFO is. But she is also the founder and owner of By the Numbers with a Z CPA. And again, she helps I say she helps people tame their taxes, maximize their profits while they're building wealth. And she's also a speaker who educates businesses on just pretty much how to keep your stuff together, how to get it right, so you can be sustainable and have some longevity in this business. So without further ado, I want to welcome to the stage Nicole Gilliard. I'm having like tongue twister. Nicole Gilliard, aka Freeman Kirkland, y'all. She just got married. So you got to be like, okay. She put that into parentheses so we can keep down the confusion. But welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are you?
You're welcome. I'm good. You know, the teenage years are trying to take me out, but I'm not gonna let them. We gonna keep pushing on. We gonna keep on people. Keep on keeping on. Nicole and I both have 14-year-olds, so just say a prayer for both of us.
Prayers coming.
So welcome, Nicole, and you've been in the business for over 30 years. You must have a big brain, Nicole, because numbers are get somebody else to do it. I'm gonna be honest. Like math that's why I'm a writer. And yeah, I do what I do because math is nope. Like I don't even participate in my kids' fundraisers at times because I'm like, I can't accounting is not my strong suit. So you are definitely someone who is needed, and bless you. So talk about your journey as an accountant and what being a certified public accountant entails and this whole fractional CFO thing. So give us a snapshot of what you do.
Okay. So I was fortunate enough to know in high school that I wanted to be an accountant. You know how they have career day and someone comes in, they talk about their career, right? Well, I just fell in love with this woman that came in She was jazzed up and she was professional. She was Black, and she was just talking about her career in accounting. And it just, something just stuck out to me. And I realized at that moment, that's what I wanted to be. So I had that benefit of knowing how I was going to plan things out very early. But, you know, going to college, of course, you have to, they changed it right in the middle of while I was in college, the requirement to be able to sit for the CPA. So I had to go to graduate school before I could sit for the exam. And then, you know, I didn't pass the exam for a number of years. I'm gonna just be very transparent. It took me maybe 5 tries because I had a family, I had a young children, you know, that whole no time
So
to
is it
study.
similar to like when people go through law school, they have to take
Yes.
their certification. Once they finish law school, you gotta, I forgot the name of it, your bar exam.
Right. Right.
It's similar to that. So it's the equivalent of that. Okay.
Right. So once you pass the exam, then you have to have certain education experience and all that stuff. And then you have to get licensure. So licensure to say that I'm a CPA with the state. So it's a whole process. And it's one of those things, once you get it, just like any other license, you don't want to have to go back and do it again. Right. But so my journey, I went to public accounting, kind of got, I don't want to say bored with that, but I really wanted to work with smaller businesses and help them see profitability, right? Because we were working with the big firms, and there was this perception that they can't afford a CPA practice. So they didn't reach out. They just tried to do it on their own or didn't do it at all. And so I just found my niche with that. I just started helping people. And to be honest, it just snowballed word of mouth and just became this thing that I became good at doing. And I continued doing it, grew a practice, and I'm here today. I mean, that's my absolute truth. It was just word of mouth, a desire to help people. And that's what I'm still doing to this day.
And I love how you explain it in layman's terms, how you I mean, taxes can be a bit overwhelming. So I appreciate how you break things down when you explain the terms. What have been for you some of the challenges that you've overcome? Like, did you start out working for a corporation yourself and then you branched off into your own as far as with by the numbers?
Well, I was working in public accounting at a CPA firm, right? Working with the larger companies and just kind of doing grunt work, being a rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the real challenge was just kind of like the industry is very male dominated.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of minorities were in accounting at that time. And there's still not a whole bunch of us, but there's more. So just breaking barriers like that, going up the ranks. I mean, so I realized very early I'm not a person that likes to work for other people. So I accepted that and realized that I wanted to
know thyself.
Right. And so I knew that I would eventually venture into my own practice. But I did continue working as a CFO for various organizations before I really just branched out.
Okay. And so I love how you stated, just like we were talking about with the previous guest, how it's not a lot of women in the industry, and I'm sure it's not a lot of Black women either.
Yeah, we make up a very small percentage of CPAs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet. So what has that been like for you? Have you sometimes showed up to somewhere and they were like, oh, Black woman CPA?
Definitely.
Yeah, how's that been for you?
Definitely. Being the only one in the room, right? Going to different events, CPE, we have to do different CPEs and going into a room full of people.
CPEs?
Yeah, what do they call it? Continued professional education. We have to continue, learning things and making sure we're up to par each year, certain number of credits. And so just going into those type of environments and just being only maybe 1 or 2, 3 in the room, you get used to it, right? But what I'll say surprisingly is like a lot of companies want a minority, right? I mean, it might change now with the whole DEI, but we were considered a hot commodity because there's not a lot of us, and we do bring a lot to the table in terms of diversity. So I have not had a challenge in terms of jobs and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So have you ever run into where like the married couple is trying to have something, one of the spouses is trying to have some financial issues that they Like, let's get into the tea of the drama of it.
Yeah.
Like, or has it been like you've worked with companies and one of the partners is having some money under the table and you've had to tell them that they was doing some unscrupulous stuff? And let's get into the fun part of it. At least that would be.
Yeah. So in both instances have happened.
How do you handle that? Like, how do you tell them, like, ooh, when I was going over the records, I saw something that, yeah, this is gonna be awkward.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much just being very transparent in what you find and how you present it. If I find something and I just know for a fact it's fraudulent or anything like that, I'm coming from the position of not exposing it, but just letting them know this is what I found, right? Do you know any history about it? I'm not, the accusatory type, but yeah, there are always instances where there's something fraudulent happening. It might not be fraudulent. They just may not have known what they were doing. That too. So, you have to, come at it at an angle where you're not being accusatory, but you are letting them know it is found. Now, for married couples, especially newly married couples, if it's their first year doing taxes or something like that, there will be the one that say, well, hell, I got this balance over here, or I did this, or I got this business and I haven't accounted for any expenses. We may owe a lot. So, there are those instances. But again, it's just presenting the facts and trying to be a resolution as opposed to just giving what the problem is, if you will. And that's worked for me.
Okay. Because I've heard about some injured spouses out there.
There's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. But it's just about the knowledge. People tend to do things until they know what to do. You know what I mean? So I think it just become helping people just fix it. You know what I mean?
So let's talk about a little bit of some of the stuff. Tax season is here. Jesus.
We'll pray for your account.
And I got to get my stuff together. I am like not looking forward to collecting all this paperwork. And I know I've heard you in other interviews saying start collecting your stuff now.
That was December. That was December. Okay.
I know that was December. Yeah. And it's February, March now. Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay.
So what do you suggest for people to make sure to stay on top of so they're ready for tax season? And also taxes are a year-round thing. It's not just from January to April. So let's talk about that, about what people should be gathering, making sure they're keeping track of, keeping receipts. People like to keep receipts. And also, how does tax support happen year-round?
Okay. So what I'll say is I joked with you about December, but really this is like the best time to file because you're so far into tax season that all the documents should have been received from your investments, from your employer, Social Security, all those statements should be in your hands now, right? Sometimes people file right at the beginning of tax season in January, and then something else comes in the mail and it causes them to have to either amend or they get a letter from the IRS saying, hey, you can report this. So this is okay time, right? What I'll say in terms of, I forgot the other question you had. I'm sorry.
What I was saying as far as why would people need tax support year round? Because I've heard a lot of people say, well, but I don't need it. Now I've heard of some entrepreneurs who they file taxes quarterly instead of yearly. So, but what is some of the year-round tax support that you give?
Okay, so there's 3 different kind of tax filers. Okay, they're the ones who know they're getting a refund, right? So they're ready very early, January, February, they're ready, right?
Right.
And then there are the ones that are not so sure, right? So they'll wait closer to the end of the season because they pretty much know or estimate they're going to have an amount due, right? Then you have those that are just not ready at all, don't want to face it, so they'll extend their return. So if they extend their return, they have until October 15th to file. So I have clients that come at the beginning, some will extend and then come over the summer, and then some will just wait till it's about to expire again and come in, right? So that's how it gets spread out pretty much. But for the most part, a lot of my business owners tend to be the ones that extend, and we work over the summer to get their books together. So that's how that spans out. And I'm not against it because it allows me to get some rest during tax season because I'm extending and not having to do 500 returns. I can only do 300. You get what I mean? So,
So you literally, is that like, seriously, you usually have around like 500 returns that you're.
I do. And I was thinking the other day, just to be transparent, like back in the day, I used to stay up till 2 a.m. doing taxes, go to sleep a couple hours, get up and start again. Nah.
No.
That over 50.
No. It's different. It hit different now
So I have a team that helps me. So yeah, we're good.
Right. So let's talk about By the Numbers, right? And Sea Park Business Hub, which is coming because you're a native Detroiter like me. Native Detroiter. However, you relocated, you found love and relocated to Atlanta, specifically College Park. And so now you are, so By the Numbers is your firm, but now that is going to be housed inside of Sea Park Business Hub.
Yes.
Which is going to be located in the heart of College Park.
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about how that came about.
Yes. So when I moved to Atlanta, I was looking for spaces to rent to move my practice because it had been at home for so long. After COVID, I just kind of moved it home. And then as it has grown, I felt like, okay, I need to get out the house, I need a space. But the market down here is just really crazy. It's almost like your mortgage to get lease space. So what I decided to do was buy a building. And of course, I had to buy the most rundown building in College Park with the vision of, just making it what I wanted it to be.
I mean, you're Aries, that's how we do. We got to find the hardest thing and do it and take that challenge.
It's like when you see your home and it's your home, the building, right. I knew it was my building. So, so just the process of dealing with finding lenders, SBA. I mean, I know I'm going through this journey and it's been a really up and down to help someone else later. But it's a heck of a journey. I'm becoming a developer, developing property is a whole different thing from being a CPA, but nonetheless, it's part of the journey and it's coming to fruition. So Sea Park Business Hub will be an ecosystem, if you will. I want it to be more than just where people come and lease affordable office space will be offered, co-working space. But I also want it to be an ecosystem where they can get resources, they can get grant funding to kind of come to Sea Park Business Hub as a landing ground, right? Get all the resources they need, get that financial foundation, get money to move forward, get marketing and all that stuff in one place, and then venture off into where they want to go for their business. So that's my vision. I've always wanted to help businesses, and I was just trying to figure out how this building, this hub, can just entwine with the CPA practice and just bringing resources that businesses truly need to launch off to be great. So that's what we're going to do at the Sea Park Business Hub.
Okay, so they're going to land and they're taking off to be sustainable and profitable, because we know that businesses, they start and then they stop. So we want to make sure that they keep going. Right. Yeah. And so what are some of the amenities that will be offered at Sea Park once it's all up and done? And we're hoping, not hoping, it will be open sometime this summer. We're shooting for around June. So we're going to claim it just in time for Juneteenth so we can celebrate the Jubilee of Sea Park Business Hub. So what will be some services? What are some things people can look forward to in that area? And College Park is in the midst of a revitalization. So kudos to you for contributing to that. It's so many different things going on there. So what are some of the amenities people can look forward to once it's open?
Okay, so this will be a place where if you have a business but you don't have a space, you can come to this space, have an office of your own, have a phone, mailbox, meeting spaces for your clients. There'll be areas where you can have coffee bar, sitting outside and enjoying the environment. Parking will be accessible. Parking is a big thing in cities, but parking will be accessible. And then just access to resources in terms of business education. Understanding your books, understanding your financials, of course, is going to be, accounting related, taxes, but also venturing into marketing, into legal, into HR, into getting grant funding, being ready for the grant funding, and getting to that point where you can venture off into your own space, your next step in your business and your phase. So those are the amenities that it'll have for each person that comes into the Sea Park Business Hub.
Okay, and so also you're going to open a program, a business education program, though, there as well.
Yep. So being an Aries, what I realized was the education piece needed to be a nonprofit in order to get grant funding to support the businesses. So Sea Park Business Education Center will be housed within the Sea Park Business Hub and offer those resources through grant funding, just to help pour into the businesses as well. I want them to get some real substance and help while they're at the Sea Park Business Hub. So yes. And the course, the course will be called Start, Stay, and Bank Profits. It'll be the full curriculum, taking them from A to Z. So that'll be the base. That'll be the start, the foundation program for the education center.
I love it, because we want to make sure that it's 360 degrees of support. You're not just coming here just to set up your office, but also how do you support them to keep their offices open and eventually, hopefully, move into their own buildings where they can, like you said, start and stay
and grow
and profit.
Yes. And then once they leave, the next set comes in. It's just really a landing ground.
Absolutely. So how do we navigate with Lord?
What?
How do we navigate with the current administration? I'm gonna be nice, Jesus. The current administration, Jesus. I see that he pulled back the he granted, I guess, a reprieve on the tariffs for the automakers, probably because it's to his benefit. But I see Canada is not playing with us now. They start. I think they stopped liquor sales. They are not playing. They are pushing back against these tariffs. So, talk a little bit about that. How, as consumers, Jesus, if I have to pay more for eggs, I'm a scream. Now, I was reading the news yesterday, and it was not too favorable about what could possibly happen with what's been going on with this current administration. So be honest, we're gonna have to be paying more money for stuff. Should we just brace ourselves for overall?
Let me start with what the goal is with that. Okay. So tariffs is not new. It's not something that Trump has created, right? Before federal taxes were imposed, the tariffs were pretty much our governmental revenue, right? But as the years went on and the different relationships we've built with other countries, the tariffs just kind of dwindled down and federal income taxes became the major source at that point. So this is not new, but this is something that he is trying to impose to bring more business to domestic companies, right? So we can't argue and say, hey, that's not a great idea. It's just the way he's going about doing it. And as you can see in the headlines, these other countries are not fighting back, but retaliating. Mexico has closed their borders. We had an agreement with Mexico, Canada, and I believe US for the auto industry, agreement that he's now with these tariffs made void. The end result will be that consumers, businesses will pay more for imported goods from these other countries. Yes. And because of that, the sales or whatever, the purchases or whatever will drop, right? The overall issue that I see is that there has to be a domestic replacement or substitute, to keep things going, right? And I don't know if we necessarily have that in a most cost-effective way that it was overseas, if that makes sense, right? So I just feel like it was a hasty move. I feel like there should have been more time to make sure that domestically it could be replaced, or just more time. It just Rashad came in, made these changes, and now they're having to really backpedal a lot. So we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, the overall result is higher costs for items. We see it with eggs is not so much based off the tariffs. That's based off something else that happened. But you saw how that effect was. $9.
So what will be what can we just give us an example of what will be affected by a tariff?
Well, I mean, just from a girly perspective, you saw how Shein and Temu, they got held up at the border.
Well, and see, you know what? I'm glad I use Fashion Nova. Fashion Nova ships from California. So
I'm just
I'm just saying.
example because a lot of people was upset about that. But yeah, so it'll be all those things that we get from. So China, they make and sell everything. Right?
Damn near everything, right?
So
right. Yeah,
just that alone at the border is going to be held up, or not held up, but we are going to have to incur those costs in the purchase prices now. I mean, you just think about it. There's a lot of things Canada was saying. I didn't realize that they were in the industry of the liquor and all that stuff. I didn't know that was Canada. So there's things I'm learning too. But yeah.
Help us, Jesus. Help us. So, so how do you stay abreast? Because especially with this BOI, this beneficiary ownership, that has just been a back and forth. And shout out to everyone watching. Shout out to Ty from Ty's Tech Today. Shout out to everyone watching.
So yeah. They just shut that down, right? I just posted something the other day that
so we don't have to do it currently. And that's pretty much the form, pretty much proving that you own your business. That's
not even currently. They just shut it down. They're not going to even acknowledge it at this point. They're just like, we're not doing it. So yeah, so it was back and forth in court. It's been a thorn in every CPA attorney's side because we have to get this information out to the public to meet the deadline to be in compliant. So it was on, then it was off, then it was in court, then it was not. So they just shut it down and said, we're not doing it. So it's off the table for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's been so much back and forth with it though?
Well, so the overall premise of it was the FinCEN. So, when they investigate terrorism, when they investigate embezzlement, these white collar crimes, right? A lot of the shell companies were supporting terrorism. Yeah. What I want to call it, like, I don't want to say mafia, but you know what I'm talking about. Just all that stuff. So the research that it would take the agencies to research to actually find out who owned these companies were costing them so much money, right? To a case. So what they decided to do was put it on the business owner to provide this information to a database, right? And the database was only supposed to be open to law enforcement. It wasn't supposed to be general public. Nobody can just access your information. But then they would have access to who owned what percentage of interest, all that. And so, of course, most business owners like to hide behind the name. They don't want their name out there, especially big businesses, right? So it was just this thing where nobody wanted to be in compliance with that. So there was this fight between FinCEN, the courts, for those filing cases against it. That's the reason for the back and forth. Nobody wants their business out there in the hands of, law enforcement that way. So.
Good child. Okay.
The premise of it.
To be continued. So, so we got to wrap it up. So tell people where they can find you. Oh, and no, I meant to say this at the beginning. She is known as the Profit-ista, y'all. She's a Profit-ista. Nicole is a Profit-ista, making sure your profits, you gain profits. Okay. Yes. So keep that in mind. Where can people find you? And of course, her website is there by the numbers with the CPA.com. But where can they follow you for more tips and tricks? And because you've been out here, in the news and all and such. So we got to make sure they follow you so they can catch the next feature.
I just want to say I have an awesome PR person, Rocki. So people can follow me. Everything is the Profit-ista. It's Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I do a lot of videos to support questions, just putting information out there on TikTok. They're all shared on IG and Facebook. So the Profit-ista.
Right. I love the one about can I claim my kid if my baby daddy?
Oh my God.
Listen, that's a valid question. I've heard it.
That's why I did it, because I know somebody out there wanted to know, and I got more on that.
Exactly. And like, what if you have a married couple who's separated and then trying to determine who claims the kids?
Exactly. Hopefully they can be amicable about it. But if not, sometimes the courts have to be involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a battle of who gets the filed return first. I've done that. And
Okay.
taxes is almost like therapy. I get it is. I get a lot of conversations about life, and people feel like you're their tax person, so they can
Yep. You know my business like that, so I might as well. Yeah,
I'm always open to that. So yeah,
I can see that. I can see that. I could see that. So let's end with, make sure you all follow her at the Profitista, Profit-ista. Okay. I want to end with 5 favorites. I like to always end with 5 favorites. So make sure you all are following her. Okay. Your favorite food?
Italian.
Ooh, love me some Italian. Favorite movie or TV show?
My favorite movie is Paid in Full.
Oh my God, I love it. Classic. If y'all don't know, go look it up. It's probably on YouTube by now. I love it. Paid in Full. Favorite travel destination?
Can I do 2? Italy and Jamaica. Italy /
Ooh. Oh my goodness, I love it. Okay. Favorite part of your job?
Meeting people, working with people.
Okay. And last one, favorite accessory?
Favorite accessory? Goodness, that's a hard one. I'm gonna have to say my cell phone. I know it's my calendar. It's my communication with my daughter when she's home. It's everything. So I'm gonna say
that's doing a lot. Yeah. So last question, and I forgot to ask this earlier. What is a fractional CFO?
Oh, so that just means I'm not full time.
Okay. But you're a chief financial officer, though.
Yeah. So the industry has shifted to where people realize they really don't need a full-time CFO on staff. Right.
Okay.
So I work with 3 nonprofits in Detroit where I'm the fractional CFO for all 3.
Okay. Got it. Okay. So it wasn't as complicated as I thought.
Nah, it's just
okay. I was being extra. I was being extra. Okay. Y'all know I like to be extra. Okay. Well, thank you, Nicole. And kudos to all you do. And I, of course, have enjoyed working with you. So this is not goodbye. This is see you later. Y'all definitely going to see her later, because when C Park opens,
yes,
we're going to do another show to introduce C Park Business Hub. And so I'm looking forward to that, because especially somewhere like Atlanta, it's just Atlanta is just a whole different vibe. So and I always have a great time every time I come there. So but best of wishes to you, Nicole. Y'all make sure, she is taking new clients, but she probably booked and busy with the current clients. Got 500 tax returns to do. So do you ever look at some of the tax returns and be like, what the hell were they doing?
Just because I'm a professional, answer that question. Just because I'm a professional, I'm not going to answer that question. I'm just going to say there are some challenges.
I can imagine. So, but okay. Thanks again, Nicole, for joining us. And again, looking forward to when C Park Business Hub opens. We'll definitely have you back on for the show, and definitely so we can show some footage of C Park Business Hub. I'm looking forward to it. Congrats to you on that. I know it's definitely a labor of love and trying your last nerves, but it's going to be so worth it.
Thank you.
When it's finally done.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Happy Women's History Month and International Women's Day.
Thank you.
All right. Thank everyone for watching. We will be back next week we will have filmmaker and director Tanja Ayers, and we will also have singer-songwriter Zanye and rapper Swifty McVeigh. They'll be on to talk about their new single Breathe. So and we'll continue the Women's History Month celebration. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. Bye.